Today we open another chapter in New Mexico State women's basketball history. I'd like to thank the various people who assisted in our search process. First, the committee that we put together, a diverse group with specific athletic, academic, and business backgrounds. Some of them are here today, and I want to recognize them. First of all, Jim Peach. Jim, our Regents Professor of Economics and International Business, as well as our faculty athletic representative. Two great supporters of Aggie Athletics, Jag Chima, Senior Financial Advisor from Wells Fargo, and Amy Hummer, owner of Steinborn Realty. Amy, thank you very much. Dr. Renee Scott, President of DACC and Interim Senior Women Administrator for Aggie Athletics, played a critical role we appreciate because we know how busy she is. And former New Mexico State head women's basketball coach, as well as Georgetown University and University of Pennsylvania coach, who has over 300 Division I wins to his credit. And finally, special thanks to UC Irvine head coach and one of my great friends and former associate head coach for the Aggies, Tamara Inouye, for her consulting with me along this whole process. I really value her opinion. I'd also like the university staff who participated in the process, General Counsel Liz Ellis, as well as our athletic staff, Maria Rocha Hall, Chet Savage, and certainly Bron Cartwright did a lot of the heavy lifting. And finally, I'd like to thank the finalists. They were a very impressive group, and there was an unbelievable amount of interest in this position. Yesterday, I spoke with all the finalists, and I know they all appreciated being included in the process. So just to recap the selection process, on Thursday, April 20th, I was informed that Mark Track would be accepting the head women's basketball coaching job at the University of Southern California. I looked at all the coaches, present and former, at the Division I level, as well as the top of Division II. I spoke with ADs from the recent women's basketball hires, Wichita State, UTEP, Nevada, and Grand Canyon, as well as Val Ackerman, the former WNBA commissioner, and let me see here, and Danielle Donahoe, the former, or the current WBCA commissioner, the Women's Basketball Coaches Association executive director, just to name a few. Our search committee met as a group last Wednesday, and we interviewed 4 finalists on Friday and Monday in El Paso. It was through this thorough and comprehensive search that I believe we've found the right coach in Brooke Atkinson. Now here's what I believe we got in Coach Atkinson. Brooke is a 14-year college basketball veteran who played at the Division I level at Wichita State University, and a pretty good three-point shooter, I see, from her statistics. In her first stop as an assistant coach at New Mexico State, her team played for 3 consecutive Western Athletic Conference championships, and she took them to the postseason for the first time in 16 years. In her 3 years subsequent at the University of South Dakota, they advanced to the postseason each year, including a Summit League championship in their first year eligible, and played in the NCAA tournament. Finally, at Colorado State University, her Rams won the Mountain West Conference Championship 3 consecutive years and advanced to postseason play all 3 years. Now, what sold me the most on Brooke was her tremendous love of New Mexico State and our women's basketball program, the potential that it holds, as well as incredible passion to win on a consistent basis at the highest level. Going 6-1 against the Lobos didn't hurt either at the time in Colorado State. Coach Atkinson has hit the ground running. She's met with her team last night, and she is ready to go. At this time, it's my pleasure to introduce an alumna of New Mexico State University, the 11th head coach of our New Mexico State Aggies, Brooke Atkinson.
Good morning. I've heard over the past couple days, well, more day, feels like a couple, but welcome home. And that's really how I feel. So thank you. I'm beyond excited to be back. Today is a very special day in my life. I am beyond excited to be the new head coach at New Mexico State University. Like Mario had said, 14 years ago, New Mexico State gave me my first coaching opportunity. They took a chance on me, and to be back here, again, thank you. I stand before you humbled, grateful, and ready to go to work. I would like to thank President Gary Carruthers, Mario Mocha, Bron Cartwright, Chet Savage, and obviously to the committee for all your hospitality and your hard work. Coach Knapp, I didn't get to meet you, but great to see you. I would also like to thank Coach T, as you guys called her, or Tamara Inouye. She's been a great mentor to me and helped guided me through this process. I have a list, so I apologize. But I'd also like to thank my former bosses and mentors for helping develop and guide me to this very point. And obviously to all the former Aggies, you know I love you guys. To Coach Mark Track, thank you for elevating this program and putting it on a national stage. And I would also like to recognize these girls in the front row or second row. Congrats on all your accomplishments, and thank you for your hard work. And again, you're very talented. Tyler, Gracie says hello. But thank you again for your hard work. I'm so excited to work with you guys. And again, you guys really, you put in everything, and you did an outstanding job. Finally, thank you to this amazing university, to this outstanding community, and to the best fans in America. We are looking forward to continuing this success and building upon it. And again, I'm just thank you. I'm very humbled to be here. So, thank you.
All right, we'll now begin the Q&A session. And as a reminder, please state your name and affiliation before proceeding.
Jason Groves with the Sun News. Brooke, when you left here last time, did you feel like when you came back it would be as your first head coaching job?
It's kind of funny how, college coaching is, how it works out. And I was always drawn to New Mexico State and to Las Cruces, and I always thought what a great job that would be, and I kept track of them the 6 years that I was gone. So I couldn't be more excited. It's a dream come true.
Can you talk about just since you left here, maybe some of the responsibility as an assistant coach, how it kind of developed to being able to be a head coach now? Like recruiting, I don't know what kind of on-court responsibilities you had at the other stops that you've had.
I think one of the good opportunities was I've worked for 3 very different bosses, and just seeing, how the game can be played differently. So that just, paying attention, listening, and all of them helped guide me and pushed me to kind of be where I'm at. Recruiting nationally, I've kind of lived in a lot of different areas. So, but then also just seeing, where basketball is very successful. Texas, Nevada, Arizona, California, and, nationally is great too. I've worked with guards primarily, but then when I went to South Dakota, I worked with the post players, which was a great example, looking at it and understanding sometimes as guards, we don't really throw the ball that much. So from a coaching standpoint, that was good to see, But, working for defensive-minded coaches, the offensive-minded coaches, and really just kind of balancing me out, understanding, what they highlight and what their importance are, and just kind of building my philosophy.
What's your understanding of the staff situation here? I know Coach Track took at least 2 assistants here. I know that's something probably you have to do in a relatively short period of time. How many assistants do you have to fill to your understanding, and what's that process going to be like for you?
I mean, Mario's been great and just said, it's your staff. You decide, and I've gotten some really good advice, obviously being around people that you trust, that are fun to be around with, and that'll be loyal and work hard, and not always being so quick to hire. You might have that one person, but kind of, do your diligence, your X's, and make sure you just do all the work to it. But
Mario, what was the biggest challenge, I guess, having to fill a vacancy at this stage of the summer or off season?
I don't know if it was a challenge, Jason. I really think that there are inherent advantages to going last or almost last, because all the chairs have, the music stopped, everybody's sitting in the chair, and you can kind of pick and choose and not worry about somebody interviewing for this job, that job, et cetera. All the ADs that I mentioned were unbelievably great about sharing their entire kind of finalist under consideration list, as well as who they brought in for interviews. So, you look for patterns and things like that. But I don't think that timing was terrible, from the standpoint of the last recruiting weekend, from, recruits being a little antsy on what's going on because, slots are filling up. I mean, that's probably the biggest downside. But I don't see a huge downside of going last, because you're not at the dog dish fighting for your place.
Can you speak to the significance from a university's perspective, and as well as the program? They've had 2 good men's coaches back to back here, good coaches, and just the significance, I guess, of hiring a woman's head coach after the last couple have been men.
Sure. Well, we've had great coaches. I mean, Coach Knapp obviously was here, Joe McEwen, who I've gotten to know. I remind everybody, one of my roomies in college, my first year, was Chris Veach, one of the greatest women's basketball players in the history of this school, 3rd all-time leading scorer. So I do have a little passion for women's basketball here. I also talked to Karen Fay. She was the first coach. I think, it is critical that you find the best coach. But it's no secret with the discontinuation of equestrian and Jackie Booth retiring in women's golf, that's going to leave, Kathy Rodoff, who's in the back. She's kind of on an island from a gender standpoint. So I think it's important that you get the best coach you can that will have diverse staffs and run systems that, the team is comfortable with. But also I do think it's important that women get opportunities. I got 2 daughters. Got a wife who played at the highest level in soccer and played professionally, so I think there is an importance factor to that.
Okay. Hi, Brooke. Dave McCullum here, NM State, Aggies.com. Welcome back. Good to see you. There's a lot of talk about in new positions the first 100 days, so I'd be interested in what you've put together briefly in your mind on your first 100 days, and then secondly, what do you see as your biggest challenge ahead?
Well, most importantly is getting here and meeting these young women. I met them last night, briefly, but obviously over these next 2 days, getting them in my office and just kind of making them more at ease, understanding not a lot is going to change. Coach Track did an exceptional job. From offensively to defensively. I've watched film upon film on what they did. It's what we did. I love it. Don't change something that's successful. If it's not broken, don't fix it. So after that, obviously the 5 incoming kids that have signed, getting on the phone with them and their coaches, and obviously re-recruiting them and reassuring them, and getting out to them if I need to. That's kind of the next situation. When it comes to staff, I've been on the phone a lot, and again, some great advice from great people. Don't rush into it. Get to know them if you don't already know them, and just understand that they have my same values. The kids are first. They're student athletes. They're young women. We're helping, further them in their success. I told them last night, being a Division I college athlete, anyone's going to want to hire you. You get that degree. No one can take that from you. So that's kind of the most important thing, making sure that we're all on the same page, values. I know I talked to Uncle Earl or Brother Earl, as they call them this morning. Camps are always kind of something in June. Again, getting kids on campus, unofficial visits. We're in a quiet period. I don't know if you guys know what that is, but quiet period in May and June. So it's more, we can't get off campus, but they can come on campus. And then July, hit the ground running, reestablishing relationships with those states, understanding where our map will be, our roadmap of recruiting, and then just getting out, That enema shoe across the chest is very well respected. And again, those areas of recruiting have worked very well. So I'm just looking to continue that.
All right, thank you. Mario, I've noted that as far as the men's program, the assistant coaches, there's a couple of postings on the board now that have closing dates later this month. Will the same process be used for the assistant coaches for the women's program?
Yeah, I think, Dave, obviously Coach Jans, who has the distinct honor of not being the newest member of the athletic department anymore, he and Brooke are probably going to be doing the exact same thing. I mean, there's people out there who obviously they're aware of. There's people that will surface. Now that she's got the job, I know a lot of coaches kind of plan for who would be on my staff, but until it really happens, they don't maybe finalize that thinking. So I assume the finalization process of, hey, heavy on recruiting in some area, need, heavy on X's and O's, need what have you. I think that'll go on, I'm sure, with both our men's and women's head coaches as they go along in the hiring process.
Okay, thank you. Brooke, describe for us your fondest memory of your time here at New Mexico State.
I have quite a few. I was here quite a few years.
Top three.
Okay, well, I can say those 3 championships, but the 2 that were in the Pan American Center, seeing those fans, I mean, it's obviously they didn't end the way we wanted, but just a feeling that I can never really express how great it was. I mean, the community support here in Las Cruces is wonderful. Like I say, I feel like I'm at home. So that over those 8 years, seeing a handful of kids that maybe had some struggles walk across that stage and earn that degree, and then making the postseason for the first time in 6 years. Or 16 years,
16,
I should say.
More questions? All right, Albert.
Yeah, if I would take this time, I'm sure the media, if they want to do one-on-ones, they will be able to. I would like to say 2 things. While we're here for Brooke and women's basketball, Kathy Rodoff had a huge milestone, 500th win as Division I softball coach. When she beat the Lobos last night, we'll definitely get her a good commemorative something with that, since it's the Lobos. And Brooke, you want to tell everybody that your mother's here?
My mother, Kathy Atkinson, is here, back over there by Miss Lisa Brown.
I kept you from being out of trouble on that one.
Yes,
All right.
thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, guys.